What if I told you that the very foundation of science, the rules that dictate how we discover truth, was never set in stone? That beneath the calm, methodical world of scientific progress lay a battlefield, where two giants of philosophy clashed over what it truly means to know. Thomas Kuhn, the historian who shattered our naive belief in scientific progress. Paul Feyerabend, the anarchist who dared to say, anything goes. This is the story of a battle not fought with swords, but with ideas that could tear down the very pillars of knowledge itself. Welcome to Chronicles of Legends, where we resurrect the minds of history's greatest thinkers and let their legacies battle in the open. Tonight, we enter the war zone of scientific philosophy. To understand this battle, we must first meet the warriors. Thomas Kuhn was not born to be a revolutionary. At first glance, he was everything the academic world respected: a physicist, a historian, a quiet and meticulous thinker. But in 1962, he changed everything with his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions. Kuhn's idea? Science does not progress through a slow accumulation of knowledge, but through violent, disruptive revolutions. Think about it. For centuries, people believed the Earth was at the center of the universe. It wasn't disproven by a slow collection of facts. It was shattered by Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton, who came in like a storm and swept away an old worldview. Kuhn called these events paradigm shifts. He argued that science doesn't operate on eternal truths. Instead, scientific progress is like a cycle. Normal science, where scientists work under accepted beliefs. Anomalies appear, data that doesn't fit. A scientific revolution erupts. New ideas overthrow the old. A new paradigm is born until the next revolution. It was a radical idea. Science was no longer an objective, straight path to truth. It was a battlefield, with theories rising and falling like empires. Kuhn's ideas shook the very foundation of how we saw knowledge. But then came Feyerabend. If Kuhn was the careful historian, Paul Feyerabend was the fire starter. Where Kuhn saw revolutions in science, Feyerabend saw chaos. Where Kuhn argued that paradigms shape knowledge, Feyerabend laughed at the idea that science needed any rules at all. His most explosive claim? The only principle that does not inhibit progress is anything goes. Yes, you heard that right. Feyerabend argued that there are no universal methods of science. No golden rule. No sacred tradition. Why? Because if you look at history, great scientific discoveries didn't always follow logic or reason. Galileo? He ignored evidence, mocked his critics, and twisted facts to push his heliocentric model. Einstein? He proposed theories with no experimental proof, only for them to be validated years later. Medicine? Countless breakthroughs started with wild, untested ideas before they became accepted truths. Feyerabend saw science as a messy, creative, almost artistic endeavor, not a strict method following the rules of reason. He argued that if we forced science into a rigid structure, we would kill innovation before it even began. He saw science as a form of power, a political institution disguised as truth. And just like any power, it needed rebels. Kuhn shook the world by saying science is built on shifting paradigms. Feyerabend went further. He declared war on the very idea of scientific authority. And so the battle between them began. The clash between Kuhn and Feyerabend was more than just academic debates. It was a war of worldviews. Kuhn, despite his revolutionary ideas, still believed in some structure. He saw science as shaped by history, but still a meaningful path to knowledge. Feyerabend, he saw no structure at all. He accused Kuhn of replacing one dogma with another. If scientific truth always depends on shifting paradigms, isn't it just another belief system? If science is just about consensus, isn't it more like politics than truth? Feyerabend didn't just challenge Kuhn. He attacked the very notion that science had a privileged position over myths, traditions, and religions. He asked, why is science better than witchcraft? To the academic world, this was heresy. But to Feyerabend, it was freedom. Did Kuhn win? Did Feyerabend? Or did their battle simply expose the fragile nature of scientific authority? In the years after their clashes, the world of science shifted in response. Kuhn's ideas about paradigm shifts became standard in understanding scientific revolutions. Feyerabend's radical skepticism inspired postmodern thinkers who questioned all forms of power. Some embraced Feyerabend's anarchy, arguing that science is just one way of understanding the world. Others fear that his ideas could be weaponized against reason itself. But perhaps the true victory is the realization that science, like all human endeavors, is not immune to revolution, nor is it protected from chaos. Science is not just a collection of facts. It is a battleground of ideas, where old paradigms fight for survival against the new. And that battle, it never ends. So, dear viewer, where do you stand? Are you with Kuhn, believing that science evolves through structured revolutions? Or do you stand with Feyerabend, believing that science should be set free, unchained from any method? Or perhaps, the real lesson is that we must always question the structures that claim to hold the truth. This has been Chronicles of Legends, where we breathe life into the greatest minds of history and let their ideas battle in the open. If you found this clash of titans intriguing, hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Do you believe in scientific order or scientific chaos? Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking, and keep the revolution alive.